This is the Shrimp Trawler Video Channel Strat-O-Matic Baseball Excel Game of the Week.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the Game of the Week in the 1981-84 Fall League. Today we got a game between the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Mets in the National League East. The Mets are on again on the Game of the Week. They're having a nice year. Phillies are getting better, as we like to say. Let's take a look at what's happened in this best-of-5 series, pivotal series in the National League East. Game 1, we have a battle of legends, sort of. It's Dwight Gooden versus Steve Carlton. Gooden is having a mesmerizing season pitching. One of the greatest performances. It's not a question of the card he's using, his 84 card, which is the best of his career. One of the better cards ever in Strat. Probably one of the top 5 starting pitchers in the 16-year timeline that I play in this league. But he's performing with it. He's overachieving with a stud card. He's untouchable this year. And Steve Carlton for the Phillies pretty much built up as a masterpiece on ice. But the Mets have other ideas. First inning, Gene Richards walks, steals a base, scores on a Ron Jackson single. The Phillies get a run off of Doc, helped by a hit off Jerry Remy at second base by Jeff Stone. He steals a base, scores on a Greg Gross RBI single. A rare run, folks. That's right, a run. You know a run when a guy steps on home plate after rounding the bases? So Doc gives up a run. It's 1-1. 6th inning, the Mets get a Strawberry RBI double, Alfredo Griffin's sac fly, 3-1. In the 7th inning, it's all over for Carlton. He has a bad inning here. Tough year for Steve. A single by Ron Jackson, a Hubie Brooks 2-run homer, and a Joe Youngblood solo shot. Adding insult to injury to the Philly bullpen. This as if he really needs it. It's a 10-2 final. The Phillies get an unearned run in the 9th on a pass ball on the catcher. So Gooden, 9 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 5 walks, 12 strikeouts. We'll take a peek at his stats before we start the game here. Well, I don't want to have you guys have to wait for that. But the Mets get a road win in Game 1. The Phils have other ideas of what's going down in this series. Game 2, the Mets have Frank Tanana versus Eric Schau. Again, you're seeing players in different places that you normally would because of a wild free agent spending spree. Teams went out of their organizations and found guys elsewhere. You can blame this on a small level of protection in the Fall League compared to the Summer League. If you're wondering again, the Summer League I try to adhere to as much as MLB that I can. In the Fall League, I make it a little crazier, a little wilder, and have players move around more freely. That's why Tanana's a Met, Eric Schau is a Philly. Bottom of the 4th inning, Gary Maddox scores Mike Schmidt with an RBI double. 1-0. Tanana and Eric Schau locked up in this one. 8th inning, Pete Rose hits a fly ball to Strawberry. He plays it on a double. Larry Herning gets a single. It's 2-0. Eric Schau is allowed to get the CGSO. 5-hit shutout, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. Tanana was fine. 8 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Dual incomplete games with the Phils even the series with a 2-0 victory. Which takes us to Shea Stadium for Game 3. The Phillies have former Met, former Cub, former Oakland pitcher, former Expo, Ray Burris. And the Mets have Craig Swan. He can help. In this one, the Phillies get to Swan early. A double by Rose, a Jeff Stone single on Mike Schmidt, a 2-run homer, 3-zip. We get an RBI single, Alfredo Griffin. It is 3-1. RBI single by Onyx Concepcion of the Phillies, 4-1. The Mets pull within a run in the fifth on a Rusty Staub homer and an RBI triple by Mookie Wilson. So it's a 4-3 Philly lead. Swan leaves after 7 innings, 9 hits, and 4 runs. And so they go to Jeff Reardon to keep the game close. And Jeff Reardon cannot keep the game close because in the 8th inning, he gives up a walk, a single to Concepcion, a single to Larry Herndon, and a double to Lonnie Smith. And a 4-3 game turns into a 6-3 game. Al Holland and Warren Brewster close the game out for the Phillies. They win 6-3. So after Doc Gooden wins in Game 1, the Phils rip off 2 straight wins. First thing first, let's look at the overall standings now. What does this all mean in the National League East? Well, got a little tighter. Mets are just one game up on the Braves. Now the Phillies, they really need to win this game, end the series, be within a game and a half going into the final 5 games of the year for a chance of winning the division. If they lose today, it's practically, they can't do any better than 2.5, and with the Braves and Mets both ahead of them, it doesn't look like the Phillies can make the playoffs. So they have to win today. Mets are barely clinging on to the lead, barely clinging on to a 2 seed in what's turning out to be a very highly contested National League. And I promised stats. Let's just go take a look and see what has Doc Gooden done thus far this year. He lost a game. I don't remember it, but he did. He's 6-1. This is unbelievable, folks. In 60 innings, he's given up 7 runs. That's an ERA of 105. That would be an all-time MLB and carryover league ERA phenomenon. Besting old Bob Gibson's 112 ERA in 67. So Doc Gooden is just having this year. He's 60 innings. He's walked 40. 17 walks. So his whip is below 1. And are you ready? 89 strikeouts. 89-17. What is that? He's got a 5.2 to 1 strikeout to walk ratio. And again, this is the 80s. This is not present day, folks, where everybody strikes out all the time. Doc's got 5 complete games in 60 innings. And again, I want to say it, you just don't get this type of performance if you had nothing on your card. Doc Gooden virtually has nothing on his card versus righties, just because, you got a 50-50 split between hitting and pitching. This is why it's almost impossible to get a perfect game, why it's impossible to get a no-hitter. It's just a balanced sport. You get close, but not this kind of outlier level. As good as that is, Doc Gooden doesn't pitch until Game 5, if there is one. So that's a potential problem here the Mets have. Because we're in Game 4 from Shea Stadium. Today's pitching matchups. For the Phillies, it's Dick Ruthven-Nails. 1982, a 3.79 ERA, 11 wins and 204 innings. And for the Mets, another free agent signee, it's Rick Russell. Rick is out in the desert in this part of his career. He's left the Cubs. He's with the Yankees. Makes the postseason roster of a World Series runner-up. I don't know if he pitches or if he's active for the World Series or not. Then he's a Pirate. Then he's a Giant. And, he's much better with the Pirates and Giants. Would have been better in Chicago if it had to play in the daytime in a home run park, but there we go. Dick Ruthven, Rick Russell from Shea Stadium. At least one of these pitchers makes sense. Ruthven actually was a Philly. Here we go. Leading off for the Phils, Lonnie Smith, 67, single 1 to 19, gets it. Ace Steeler. You got John Stearns catching. He'll stay there. Pete Rose, 2-3, a fielder's choice. Rose at first for Jeff Stone. 1-5, homer 1 to 7 fly ball, and it's a fly ball. Folks, one of the fun things we did with the Phillies is that we had the opportunity to get Lonnie Smith and Jeff Stone on the team at the same time. Probably wouldn't have happened, as Lonnie Smith ended up with St. Louis. Stone didn't become a Philly until '84. But it's juicy, folks. Lonnie Smith and Jeff Stone in the same lineup, which means one of these guys has to go into left field while the other guy is the designated hitter. And that is quite an adventure for the Philly defense. All right, 2 outs now, and it's Mike Schmidt. 2-6 is a base hit to center field. Rose, does he get thrown out of third on a 17? He's going to run, though, on a 17. So Pete Rose got thrown out at third base, which probably wouldn't have happened. He had an 85% chance of getting there. It's a mere formality, but because it's Strat-O-Matic, you run the bases, they're going to get thrown out. And there's that. It should be, you know, when there's 2 outs, it shouldn't be +2. It should be like +5 or something. I mean, it's a mere formality, folks. They just... Okay, I digress. I'll stop. I promise. Bottom of the first. Leading off, it's Gene Richards. 1-6 is a walk. He's an ace stealer. Dare I steal a base off a +2 arm catcher? Let's try it and see what happens. Nope. Gun down. I know you're sick of this, folks. I am too. I really am too. You know. All the caught stealings are by +2 arm catchers in my league. Because all the -4 arm catchers, like Johnny Bench, no one even considers attempting a stolen base against them. 1 out, it's Jerry Remy. 3-5 grounds to short. And Joel Youngblood, 2-10, flies to center. All right, top of the second inning, it's Greg Gross, 42. Right X, right fielder, is Youngblood, is a 2E14. He makes the catch. Harry Spillman, 111, grounds the first. And Onyx Concepcion, 1-9 is a single. Larry Boa, 311, pops to short. Bottom of the second inning, it's the Strawberry. Darryl Strawberry, 47, single 1-2, line out. Rusty Staub, 45, rolls the second. And with 2 outs, it's John Stearns, 6-6, a strikeout. We go to the third. Gary Maddox, 110, is a base hit. C stealer, he'll stay at first. For Lonnie Smith, 58, pops to the second. Pete Rose, 312, we got a walk. A couple guys on for Jeff Stone, 411, off Russell. Short X, this is Alfredo Griffin. He's a 2E27 at shortstop. Alfredo makes the GBA. Bottom of the third. Here is Mookie Wilson. Mookie, I believe the story is when he was a little boy, he couldn't pronounce the word milk and called it Mook, and he got the nickname Mookie Wilson. So let's call him Milky Wilson if you want. 69. Off of Ruthven. Homer 1-4 double. Well, it's a homer if you have power. He does not hit the single. Can Mookie Wilson try a stolen base off a +2 arm catcher? Can we, please? Try it. At least try. Nope. Nah, we just roll 20s. Let's see. It's 1-17, 18, 19, 1-7. That's an 85% chance. This doesn't really matter. Ray Knight with 1 out now. 2-6 a single. Alfredo Griffin, 2-5's a walk. Haven't gotten out except for running the bases. 2-1, 1 out for Gene Richards, 45, second C. Runners in scoring position for Jerry Remy. He Ks. We go to the fourth inning of a scoreless affair. Mike Schmidt, 54. Center X. Mookie Wilson's a 1 in center field. He makes the catch. Greg Gross, 6'10". Catcher's X. Stearns is a 3 catcher. He makes the play. 2 outs. Harry Spillman, 57. Flies to center. First 3 up and 3 down inning for Russell. Bottom of the fourth, scoreless. Joel Youngblood. 1-5. Let's take a look at a card. Your 1981 Joel Youngblood would win the batting title in the year of the strike. Seems fitting, as we'll have a strike at the end of our season. 143 at-bats, give him a .350 batting average, and obviously the best year of his career, plus the great range and the great arm. Plus, he's got the balance you want, so you can play him every day, all the time. 1-5, homer, 1-11, double the rest. It's 2 base hit. Strawberry, Darryl, 210, flies to center. Rusty Staub, 2-4, flies to center. And with 2 outs, it's John Stearns. 47's a walk. And Mookie Wilson, 39, pops to second base. We go to the 5th. We don't have a score, folks. It's Onyx Concepcion. 67 on a 19 gets it. Boa will try a hit and run. It's probably a low max too, right? No. We get a single on a hit and run for Larry Boa. And some strategy worked for the first time. Runners are on the corners for Gary Maddox. They're going to bring the infield up. Interesting. 59 pops to first. Now they'll definitely bring it up for Lonnie Smith. 35 is single on a 19, and he converts. So they get a run. We have runners at first and second, 1 out for Pete Rose in a 1-0 game. 6-11 a walk, and Russell's in trouble for Jeff Stone. Infield comes up for the 8-bunter. 63, Russell left X. That's Strawberry. He's in left, if you're wondering, because Youngblood's in right. And Youngblood's actually better defensively, if you can believe that. We get a fly ball 7, so that's a break for the Mets. No sac fly awarded on the 3 left fielder. So it stays loaded with 1 run in and 2 outs. And it's Michael Jack Schmidt. 112 is a fly ball A, and the Phillies do not capitalize on the bases loaded scenario with just a single run in a 1-0 game. Surprisingly low scoring affair between Ruthven and Russell. Bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right. Leading off for the Mets will be Ray Knight. 57 is a base hit off Ruthven. Alfredo Griffin. 2-7 is single 1-3. He cannot convert. Back up top to Gene Richards. 38, Gene hits a single to center field. Ray Knight will hold it second. 2 on, 1 out. Jerry Gin Remy. 67 off Ruthven is a K. And with 2 outs, big moment for Joel Youngblood. Mr. Homer had to settle for a double, and they ultimately didn't score. Here's the pitch. 1-5 again! This time he rolls a 7, Joel Youngblood. This time it's the 3-run homer. And the Mets take a 3-1 lead. Joel Youngblood and Dwight Gooden, 2 pretty big reasons and in kind of an unusual way as to why this Mets team is doing so well. They'd have a slightly different cast by the time, they go to the playoffs and go to the World Series. Youngblood won't be around anymore helping this team out. Obviously, they never had Richards or Remy. Rusty Staub would be retired. John Stearns would be gone. Mookie would be here. Ray Knight would be here. And again, the pitching staff, right now, all we have is Gooden. We're still awaiting Sid Fernandez and Ron Darling. We've got Orozco in the bullpen. We have Reardon closing. He'll move to the Expos. And they'll have to find another arm for the pen there. But anyway, it's 3-1 with 2 outs now. Darryl Strawberry. 6-11, pitcher X, Ruthven's in the 8. He makes the play. All right. Can the Phils respond? They need this. They really do to have any chance of winning the National League East. Kind of a disappointing year because they got a really special offense here that they're not taking advantage of. Gray Gross, 2-11, pops to first. Harry Spillman, 110 is a base hit. Onyx Concepcion, 410. Oh, it's a homer 1-16 if you have power. And once again, our banjo hitters are rolling the homer, finding the single. Runners on the corners, 1 out. They're going to play back with a 2-run lead, as Boa is a B bunter, not an A bunter. One of my rules is if it's an A bunter, you have to bring the infield up, regardless of the scenario. In the best interest of the sport. Larry Boa 1-5. And Larry Boa 1-5 is a GBA because you're playing back for the B bunter. So there's an instance. Couple things here. Let's take a look at the Boa card. I know he's already swung. But this is one of the first years that Boa is no longer a 1 shortstop. And that hurts a little bit, but not a lot. But he's not an A bunter anymore either. So you can actually put the infield back with runners on the corners. not wanting to hold a slower runner at first, and you actually do get a GBA. So unlikeliness happened for Larry Boa, at least offensively. And if the Mets get a hit off of him in the game, we can say the same thing defensively. Bottom of the 6th. It'll be Rusty Staub. 49 off Ruthven's a single. Do you want to do a pinch runner here in a 3-1 game? Rusty's had 3 at-bats. Let's get Rusty off the base pass, as he's of course an 8. How about putting Hubie Brooks there? Because you have to hold him on. Hubie Brooks will run for Staub as they try and go for more runs here. The batter is John Stearns. Stearns is a pretty good hitter. 1-6. Let's take a look at John Stearns' card. A nice year for him in 82. It's a shame he doesn't last long enough to see the promise of the Mets in 86. Now, Stearns really had, from the late 70s, early 80s, he really was one of the best New York players as a catcher with offense, reasonable defense, good base runner, base stealer. Nice card here. A 293 card in 82. 1-6, triple on a 6 double. Misses the triple. Settles for the double. Hubie Brooks, a 15 runner. But he won't take on the -2 arm of Gary Maddox in center field with nobody out. Well, because of Strat-O-Matic. Because you see me getting thrown out all the time anyway. So, yeah. So, we have Brooks at third. Stearns at second. Infield comes up for Mookie Wilson. 6-10 off of Ruthven's a homer. Well, yeah, again, it's Mookie Wilson, so those homers are singles, but a 2-run single, and the Mets have a 5-1 lead. Mookie Wilson, the big lead, is going to attempt to steal. We get one on a 4. Look at that. We actually stole a base in Strat-O-Matic with a double-A stealer against a +2 arm. Hallelujah. Runner at second for Ray Knight. 1-7, double 1-2 is a base hit. Can we run Wilson? Let's run him anyway. And we run into a 19 again. And we get thrown out on the bases again on a 75% chance because of Strat-O-Matic. 1 out. Alfredo Griffin. 4-12, pitcher B. I don't have to run. I don't have to do these things. It just seems like something I should be doing, even though the probabilities keep screwing me. But that's the way it goes. Gene Richards, 2-4. Lies the center. I mean, I'm running on 75, 85% chances and just getting gunned down 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So over 4. So to get to 75%, okay, I have to run 16 times in a row. That would make me 16 out of 20, which would be 80%. Just to get back to the probability I get when I make my decision. So good luck getting success 16 times in a row. That's not going to happen either. As we go into the 7th inning of a 5-1 game, Russell will go back out there. He'll face Gary Maddox. 2-5 base hit. Don't want to play this into a loss, Rick. Lonnie Smith. 2-11 fielder's choice. Runner at first with speed for Pete Rose. 2-5 is a 4-6-3 double play for Pete Rose. Nice outing for Russell. 1 run on a bunch of singles through 7 frames, and the Mets are leading 5-1. It's 7th inning stretch here in New York. We are enjoying listening to this one, the Silver Apples. This is a duo from late 60s. They were on Cap Records. They were from, I think, the Village, Lower East Side, somewhere around there. And they had a synthesizer and a drum and a drummer. And they put out 3 LPs and dissolved in the late 60s. Contact, their debut album, and The Garden. So here's a nice little mix of all that stuff. The Silver Apples. They were a big deal, ahead of their time, we like to say, with that synthesized sound. Okay, back to the game. Bottom of the 7th inning. I've seen enough of Dick Ruthven today. Fortunately, Mookie Wilson didn't have power, so it would be a blowout if he did. We're going to go to Ray Searage. Will come on in the 7th inning for the Phillies. Former Met. 81, 365 ERA in 37 innings for those Mets. And he will face Jerry Remy. 2-5 is a grounder to the third. Joel Youngblood, fans on their feet. They love this guy. 2-7, flies to center. And with 2 outs, it's Strawberry. 1-2, grounds to second base. We go to the 8th, Russell. 5-1 lead. You know what? Let's get him out of there, though. I'd say he's had a nice day, but we've gotten more than we thought we'd get out of him. Let's go to Jesse Orozco. Show you some. Yeah, we know Jesse. He'll be with the Mets for a while. In 83, Jesse was 13-7 with a $1.47 earned run average in 110 innings. Relief 3, presently setting up Jeff Reardon. Might go to closer next year. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It'll be Jeff Stone leading off. 34 short. Mike Schmidt. 410, third X. A quiet day for Mike. Normally we see his card on Strat, but been a quiet one. Ray Knight at third base, 2-17, makes the play, and with 2 outs. Batting for Greg Gross, it'll be Larry Herndon. 2-7, Herndon gets a single. And batting for Harry Spillman will be Steve Yeager, another catcher out of place. Former Dodger, Steve Yeager. 45 off for Roscoe, double 1-3 single. Runners on the corners for Concepcion. 1-3, he pops to second base. The Phillies do not score. Herndon and Yeager will go to their corresponding positions. Bottom of the 8th, we'll take Searage out, and we'll go to Roy Thomas in the 8th for the Phillies. Roy Thomas was a Seattle Mariner in 83. He had a .348 earned run average in 89 innings. Had a few nice cards in the late 70s, 80s. At least 3 nice ones that I can recall. Oh, I think it's a good 85 card he has, where he's like 8-0 or something like that. He's a starter in the 70s with a nice card. He's a reliever here. So Thomas has several nice years in the sport under the radar. So leading off, it'll be Ron Jackson, the third baseman, the heir apparent to Rusty Staub. 67 singles. John Stearns, 38, is a 6-4-3 double play. And Mookie Wilson, what a day he's had with singles. 110's another one. You steal a base up 4. Maybe not. Ray Knight, 68, single ... They're on the corners for Alfredo Griffin. 49, grounds to second. 5-1 game into the 9th. We'll just go to Reardon. Let's just do that. It's not a save situation up 4. We'll show you the Reardon card. He was an Expo in 81. He was a New York Met in 1980. With the Expos, he's got a .219 ERA in 70 innings. Ultimately ends up as a Minnesota Twin where he gets a World Series ring in 1987. 5-1 game in the 9th. Larry Boa leads off. 49 pops to first. Gary Maddox, 43. Pitcher X, E0 pitcher. And with 2 outs, back up top to Lonnie Smith. He strikes out, and that's a nice, easy ball game. A nice, easy win for the Mets. And it's kind of a devastating loss for the Phils. Series is now tied, but the Phils have just made it a lot harder on themselves. Practically not eligible to make the playoffs, we don't think. 5-1 final score. Rick Russell gets the win. Dick Ruthven gets the loss. After the break, we'll give you the box score of this game and the results of Game 5 because it's going to be Dwight Gooden again. You'll see another Dwight Gooden box score. He'll go back to Philadelphia to face Steve Carlton. You don't want to miss that, so stay tuned. All right, folks, here's the box score of Game 4. You just saw the Mets with a 5-1 victory. Some kind of ugly pitching lines here. Russell does get the win. 7 innings, gave up 10 hits, 2 walks, didn't strike a batter out. Meaning the Phillies scored 1 run on 12 hits in this game. I think all 12 were singles. Yep, 12 singles for the Phillies and 1 run. Mets had 5 runs on 13 hits. That's not glorious either with 3 walks. But they win the game 5-1, which sets up the rematch of Carlton Doc Gooden in Game 5. And folks, I'm going to tell you right now, we're getting more history in the making, even though it's somewhat unusual. Let's go take a look at Game 5. Here it is. Doc Gooden at Steve Carlton. Bottom of the first inning, the Phillies score first. How? Well, after 2 outs, they hit a fly ball to normally reliable Joe Youngblood, 2-base error. Then a ground ball to Jerry Remy, another error. RBI single, unearned run. Unearned run, 1-0 Phils. 5th inning, after a stolen base, guy throws the ball in the center field, so the guy gets to third, and then RBI single, another unearned run, 2-0 Phillies. The Mets start to make their comeback late. They get to lefty in the 8th inning on an RBI double by Ron Jackson, and finish him off in the 8th with a single by Brooks, doubles by Strawberry Mookie Wilson. That's all for Carlton. It's 3-2 at this point. Warren Brewster makes it worse by allowing a walk. Double single the 9th. It is a 5-2 game now with 5 runs in the last 3 frames. Gooden has not given up an earned run today. We go to the bottom of the 9th. He gets up a single to Boa, a strikeout, a flyout, then a ground ball to Alfredo Griffin. Yep, another error, which guarantees no earned runs in the 9th anyway. It's a moot point, because with 2 outs, he strikes out Pete Rose to end the game. Ladies and gentlemen, Dwight Gooden wins another one. Not a shutout, of course. 5-2 victory. Let's start with Carlton. 7 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs, 5 walks, 5 Ks. Brewster was pretty bad in relief. But the line for Gooden: in his complete game, gave up 7 hits, 2 unearned runs, 1 walk, 12 strikeouts, folks. So now let's go take a look at the Doc Gooden numbers as they get even rosier, folks. Boy, this is really amazing stuff here. I hope I can remember to document this historically if the Mets fumble this thing away or Dwight Gooden gets lit up later this year. Here's the present line. Doc Gooden is 7-1. He's 69 innings now, 7 earned runs allowed. Yeah, that's right, folks. He has a... can you please give me the decimal places? 9 times 7 divided by 69. His earned run average is 0.91. A starting pitcher with a 0.91 earned run average through 8 decisions, 6 complete games, 69 innings pitched, 18 walks, 101 strikeouts for Doc Gooden. And the walk strikeout ratio is getting insane now. It's up to 5.6 to 1 for Doc Gooden. That's an MVP, folks. I've not awarded an MVP to a pitcher before. I think he's clinched this thing for our league, even though it's going to be a strike-shortened year anyway. But what a fun time it has been on this role of Dwight Gooden. Gosh, I wish I could play the Mets every day, just because of him. He's going to be in there. He has 7 of the Mets' 16 victories. He can only pitch on 3 days rest, of course. But the Mets are in really good shape now. They are 2 games ahead of the Braves, and they finished the series against the Marlins. Barring a total collapse, the Mets should practically win this division now. The Braves would have to sweep the Phillies, and the Marlins would have to sweep the Braves for it to flip-flop. So it looked like the Mets are going to hold on to this thing now after 2 straight wins to close out this series against Philadelphia. That's it. Break up Doc Gooden and the New York Mets. They beat the Phillies 3-2. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.